So the Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree, came out recently. And yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely some of the best content the game has to offer. Stunning areas, fun new weapons, and of course, fun and creative new bosses. But it feels like the conversation for this DLC has been focused on one thing and one thing only, and that of course is the difficulty. Which isn't unusual for From Software games. Every time one releases, I feel like I read the same three articles about how the game is too hard and should have an easy mode. But the discourse of the difficulty this time around is largely from the From Software elitists like myself, claiming that the DLC is far too hard and Miyazaki has gone too far this time. Which, looking at it now, a few weeks after the DLC is released, it seems a lot of fans have overreacted in the moment. Once they went and gathered some Shadow Tree fragments, which is the new upgrade materials, they realised that these new bosses weren't too bad. But after devouring the DLC in just a couple of days, I was looking forward to seeing the discussion of this masterful DLC. But the whole conversation was just about the difficulty. Yeah, I get it, these games are sold on the premise of being hard games to a lot of people. But to me, these games are just so much more than difficulty. From Software are no strangers to controversy when it comes to their games and the difficulty surrounding them, but is this what truly keeps people coming back? Is it the difficulty that's turned the Souls from a relatively niche genre to the absolute behemoth that it is now? Because I'll be honest with you, the difficulty has never been a selling point to me personally. My first exposure to From Software's work was their eldritch horror masterpiece, which is Bloodborne, a game that means a lot to me, so much that I had it tattooed on my body forever. But if I'm being honest, the whole thing of difficulty was very off-putting. I loved the look of Bloodborne, I loved the music, the lore, the combat, but the idea of bashing my head against a wall for hours due to difficulty wasn't appealing to me. Even though everyone's always said that the sense of accomplishment is worth the pain. But after months of playing for 10 minutes at a time and then turning it off due to the fear of the upcoming difficulty, I just decided one time to push through and throw myself up against all the challenges the game threw at me. Yeah, of course the game was tough, I'm not denying that. I must have died hundreds of times, but eventually I beat the game and it became one of my favourite and most memorable gaming experiences. Not because of the difficulty, but because the game was just excellent. To this day, I've never seen a game series which is as engaging to so many different audiences as the Soulsborne series. And people may scoff at that idea, but think about it. You have the dedicated hardcore Souls fans that plough through the games as quick as possible to brag about it, how quick they finish the game. Those same people then will try and do challenge runs of the games, or they'll try a different build, a different playstyle, playing the games as many different times as they can, just so that they can get as much mileage as possible. And then you have the fans who don't like to play the games themselves, but love to watch YouTubers and streamers play the games, and watch their reactions, in particular, the rages. It's become a dedicated part of the community, believe it or not. I mean, take Kai Cenat's recent Elden Ring marathons as proof. There's an audience for this. And then there's a part of the community that don't even care about the gameplay itself, but are obsessed with the lore of the series. Because yes, this gameplay heavy, non-hand-holdy series that tells you the absolutely nothing has the richest and deepest lore you can think of. Of course, they're not finding that shit themselves. We leave it to our lore father, Vati Vidya,
I've just finished narrating over 400 pages of Dark Souls
to tell us everything. So this long tangent was just a long-winded way of saying yes, people really do care about so many different things to do with this series, so why is it always focused right back to difficulty? Now, of course, I don't want to be dismissive of the game's difficulty, because yes, to a lot of people, the difficulty of the games is what keeps them coming back, and it's important to realise that when Miyazaki was making a Demon's Souls, his intentions were never to make a difficult game. He wanted to make a game that rewarded the player with a great sense of accomplishment when overcoming a challenge. So, I think it's safe to say, Miyazaki never meant to make the most infamously difficult game in series. He just wanted to make a game that wasn't so easy, and that it has no satisfaction to beat. And looking back at the AAA industry before the release of Demon's Souls in 2009, a game's difficulty was never really a major talking point. Of course, I'm not saying that games released before 2009 weren't difficult, because a series like Ninja Gaiden would have something to say about that.
Correct!
But a game's difficulty was never a main selling point before the popularity of the Souls series, and now it seems to be the only thing that people want to talk about. Another reason why the difficulty dominating the conversation of Souls games annoys me is the fact that the thing From Software are best at simply gets brushed under the rug, and that's their level design. There is truly no other developer that knows how to do level design like From Software. Seriously, any aspiring game developers who want to make a Souls-like game, look at Dark Souls 1, see how it's beautifully designed, where everything in the first half of the game links back to Firelink Shrine. It's just truly chef's kiss. And how this evolved into Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, well, yeah, they don't wrap around onto each other like Dark Souls 1 masterfully does, but the way that the games are designed to be so satisfying to make your way through. Take the Cathedral in Bloodborne, where you have the option to go left or right, with neither choice being the wrong one, and you being taken to some beautifully designed areas. And in Dark Souls 3, given those whose skills permit early access to the endgame area, which is Lothric Castle. And then, of course, there's the level design of Elden Ring, which many believe to be From Software's magnum opus. Of course, with Elden Ring being an open world game, their linear level design kinda gets thrown out the window, but yet, From Software have taken the challenge up and utterly smashed it. Even though it was their first foray into open world design, they were able to make level design feel good and satisfying to traverse without taking away from the difficulty of the previous games. And you know how they did this? They did it by making all the areas really well designed and didn't just bloat the difficulty by making the areas have loads of enemies and having really unforgiving sections. It just feels so satisfying to do, and it's just another reason why I feel these games are so compelling and keeps people coming back for more. To be honest, I feel like this video ended up being a lot of rambling, but I just had to get this off my chest after thinking about it for such a long time. But either way, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing, and hopefully, I will see you again.